Hello and welcome, I am Raziel, and today this is not a retcon as such, it's more of a theological debate within the doctrination of the Imperial Truth Creed, the Imperial Creed. Yeah, you can see I've been reading a lot of Horus Heresy lately because I said truth. However, we need to go back to its first mention, and that was within the 3rd edition rulebook. It's on the very last page if you want to see it, and it basically talks about a cult of Tzeentchian worshippers. Now, it is Tzeentch that was doing it, and so a couple of Inquisitors went, this is bad. Basically, what they saw, they thought was really good to begin with. They thought, wow, these people are worshipping the Emperor in this new way, bringing him in more of a physical form, and the main preacher was meant to be a sensei. A sensei is a biological child of the Emperor, not a Primarch, not one who's built genetically, but one that was birthed naturally. I don't know how that would happen. Like it just glows and happens. I don't know. Okay, it's the Emperor, and how he births children is probably weird, and whatever a woman goes through is probably either fantastically traumatic or traumatically fantastic. However, and they see this, and they think it's quite good, and they see, okay, let's take a look. However, one of the Inquisitors notices the symbols on the wall. The symbols on the wall are all, he thinks, are chaotic in nature, and he brings along another Inquisitor. The other Inquisitor goes, yes, these are chaotic in nature. In fact, we can pinpoint them down to Tzeentch. So, it's a heresy. The whole hive is put to flame. And it's put to flame by everyone's good guys, the Salamanders. Now, seeing the Salamanders here doing this, killing Imperial citizens, kind of indicates the gravity of the situation. I mean, this is not, it's not the Space Wolves, it's not the Blood Angels, it's not the Dark Angels. It's the good guys, the nice guys, the ones that really like to boop the pets and give everyone big hugs except our children. But no, so we can see the gravity of the situation when you bring the good guys in to do this, to kill Imperial citizens. And yes, they are put to flame. Now, since then, the story has evolved in a way which is kind of weird. It's kind of, because now it's more like, the Star Child is maybe the Emperor being born within a warp, which brings its own issues, such as which we see with Slaanesh and Avi Aldari, and that birth just causes so much havoc, creating the Eye of Terror, and destroying the entire Aldari Empire. So, if it is Emperor being born within a warp, we can assume that the same thing is going to happen to Vet, but this time on Terra, because that's where the center of the Imperial Empire is. The Imperial Empire, that's such a silly term. Anyway, but that's the best way I can do it. So we could cause a lot of havoc and pretty much destroy the entire Imperium just by doing that. So, and also kind of does take away some of the story. Now, the way I would see this going would be that it does change from Tzeentchian worship to the Imperial doctrine because one of the people survive. They made it late to one of the meetings where their burning was happening, and they go, oh, what happened here? It's a underhive. Fights like that happen for all sorts of reasons, for, well, no reason. And, it wouldn't be uncommon to see something like that happen. It wouldn't be common, and it wouldn't raise so many eyebrows, though. And most of those eyebrows would be burnt off anyway. So this person would be probably very illiterate and probably didn't even realize about the symbols, but listened to what the preacher said, this so-called sensei. And then he took this meeting and took this meaning to heart, still thinking it's the Emperor doing it, but it was the Emperor he was preaching, and gone to preach himself. Again, we see this sort of action before with Sebastian IV. Sebastian IV, of course, was a fantastic preacher, he was a fantastic orator, and he took this new form of Imperial worship. Of course, the Inquisitor didn't like that and found that, maybe one or two of the ashes of Sebastian IV's followers may have had some mutant trait or slightly heretical taint. But, he did change a lot of the Imperial, and this could add a new doctrine to the Imperial Creed. Now, one thing a lot of people don't seem to realise, and I do see this, that the Imperial Creed has a lot of denominations. We can kind of put this a parallel with today's Christianity. We have Catholics, Protestants, Orthodoxy, Evangelism, all of those. But they all take them from the same book, the Holy Bible. So we can say, and the same happens in 40k. Different planets worship emperor in different ways. Katachan example isn't a very religious planet. They're not secular, they worship the emperor, but they are very much a more, we do this for the emperor because we have no choice, rather than we're going to praise you because you're the emperor. They do it because they have to stay on the good side. And of course that's the way it goes. Now, the thing is, it has gone one or two ways. It's gone the way of a warp entity being born and being formed, and it's gone another way as well, that it may be a part of the Emperor's shattered psyche. Now, this is another one I'm not a fan of, because this is meant to be this part that is compassion, but we've seen him be compassionate without it, and that of course was in the Dominus Crusade books. You know, the ones by Guy Haley. You have Plague War, that series. I've just finished reading it again. It's a fantastic series. Guy Haley's a fantastic writer and well worth reading. And we see that he shows compassion towards Mortarion, saying that he could save him from his, new adoptive father. But to be honest with you, this might upset Mortarion even more, because this would be the second time the Emperor saved him from a, controlling adoptive parent figure. But this is shown a sign of compassion. I know the argument again is with Roboute Guilliman that he called him a tool, but to be fair, if you see an Ultramarine, we all tend to think they're tools anyway, so I don't think he actually was referring to him as a rasp. He was making an indication about his personality, that the Papa Smurf is an absolute tool. So we do see his compassion anyway, and so this Star Child being part of his map, his fragmented psyche, or whatever you want to call it, kind of doesn't make sense when we've seen him be compassionate and talk to Mortarion. We've also seen him work in compassionate ways in other books as well, such as Saint Celestine. Saint Celestine is incredibly compassionate. She even made the Alpha Legion work for the Emperor, and she said she was being guided by the Emperor to do this because she knows her path. The Emperor guides her path, to save the beacon. Now, anyone who wasn't compassionate would have just slaughtered the Alpha Legion then and waited for their team to turn up. It wasn't going to happen. It was Imperial Fist they were fighting, and they have a bad habit of dying anyway, so it wasn't going to happen then. But yeah, it was the Alpha Legion that saved the beacon via Celestine, which was of course a proxy for the Emperor. And we see this a lot, and I think this is the thing. We do see Emperor's compassion, not just, again, with the Salamanders, they are a very compassionate chapter, as well as compassionate as psychotic 9-foot killing transhumans can be, but they can be very compassionate towards humans, and this is just fantastic. Anyway, so that's my thoughts. This is on the Cult of Starchild. What do you guys think? Do you think they should go down the warp entity route, the fragmentic segment route, psychic route, whatever you want to call it, or do you think they should, build it up as a new denomination of the Imperial Creed, therefore working it into the storyline, showing how the religion of the Imperium has evolved from this, where we had the secular version, now we've had this very Dark Age version, now we can have a new version which is building off that time for compassion among the humans, so they can unite together to fight a common cause via the Star Child. That was the one I was going to go with. Yeah. See, that would be great to see that this Tzeentchian worship turned into a uniting of the Imperium under this single banner. Of course, there's going to be offshoots. As always, there's going to be Inquisitors who are not happy about this, but that's just the way the Imperium is, I suppose. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. This was just an interesting little video I wanted to put out ages ago. I like the idea of the Star Child, and I like the way I would like to see them go through it in more depth. I think it would add a lot to the 40k lore, especially on the theological side. It would add more depth. I mean, I can mention the tablet as well, which is Corner Broken, and the Star Child there as well. But honestly, it doesn't really do much. I mean, it's literally a picture in a book. It can mean anything. It was an Aeldari picture. And Aeldari aren't the most clearest of people when given hands. So you ask them what's 1 + 1, they go, wow, it's a number which is from 0 to 2 billion. It's one of those there, and it's probably an even number, and they'll just give 3 answers, and you're like, wait, just give me the answer, dude. So yeah, it's an Aeldari stone, so let's not really look into that. I didn't even think it was worth bringing up within this video, to be honest with you. That's why it's at the end. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you all guys have a good day. I'm really enjoying doing these more lore-centric videos, reading the old lore, looking at the new lore, and stuff like that. It's fantastic. I love it. And I'll hope to see you again soon. There is a link to Wayland Games down below if you wish to save money on your Warhammer. And there is Forbidden Planet as well, if you like comics, manga, all that cool stuff, and my merchandise as well, comics, t-shirts, etc, etc. And I hope to see you all again soon. Next week is a kind of retcon, but my opinion on the Crimson Fist and the Primaris. Just so you know, I hope to see you again soon.